Hello students, welcome. My name is Mrs. Mercado and I'm going to be your instructor for Accounting 1329. This is Payroll and Business Tax Accounting. Okay? The textbook that we're going to be using is Payroll Accounting 2020, 30th edition. So I've included a little picture here of what your cover should look like. Okay? This is a Cengage product. Okay? So every week what's going to happen is I'm going to be recording these short videos. These are demonstration problems to help with your homework. Okay? And within the title, I include which homework problem this refers to. Okay, so in your syllabus, you're going to see homework titles or assignments as well as in Cengage. This is how you tie them to. Okay, so for example, this is a demonstration problem to help with homework 2A. Okay, so what's going to happen in these short videos is I've selected a couple of problems that I feel students struggle with the most, and I cover these via this short video presentation, okay, to help you figure out and understand the problems better. Okay, I will not do this for every single problem. It is the student's responsibility to read the chapter and to figure out your homework problems based on the information that you've read. So you have to apply what you have read to the specific scenarios. Now I love this textbook because first of all, it only covers 6 chapters, which is wonderful. Okay, so we have plenty of time to cover the content in detail. Second of all, it includes great examples of problems. Okay, so you can follow along, review those examples provided, and then try to figure it out. Okay, we have to use our critical thinking skills here. You read the information that's being provided in the problems, and then try to incorporate what has been learned in the chapter and apply it to the particular problems. Okay, now since this is the first video that I'm doing, I do want to let you know that once you log into Cengage, let me go into Cengage. Once you log into your homework problem, you're going to have a list of all of your homework problems for the specific week. Okay, so each problem is going to have different information. Instructions are provided. Okay, a lot of problems have instructions as to how they want you to specifically round your calculations. Okay, so it's important that you read the instructions. Okay, a lot of students, send me a message or call me miss, that system marked it wrong. Well, you're off by 2-3 cents. It has to do with your rounding. You're not rounding correctly. We need to read the instructions. Okay, the textbook, the problem also includes some general information. Okay, so here it provides for you why some of these employees get paid less than minimum wage, and then you have the specific problems where you have to answer the particular questions to get the points. Okay, now in your homework, I have given you 3 tries. Okay, so you get to put your answers, check your work. Okay, if it's right, it'll let you know it's correct. You'll put a little check mark. If it's not right, you'll put a little red X. Okay, so you get to fix your problem, or you get to fix the solutions that you're posting 3 times. Once you reach the 3 attempts, then that's what stays. That's what's gonna get graded. Okay, then you move on to the next problem and you keep on solving. Now, some of the problems in this particular system have videos. Okay, what these videos do, they show you how to solve the problem. Okay, not all of the problems have videos, but some of them do. So what I've done is I've reviewed each of the problems and I've identified which ones have videos, which ones have not. And I'm covering information on the ones that do not have videos. Okay, that way you'll have enough information from the actual product here from Cengage, or I'll provide you with short videos on other problems that you're going to be seeing on your homework. Okay, when you're doing your homework, remember the homework, you have unlimited time to complete it. You can save your work. Let's say you work on it for, on Monday, you work on it for an hour. You want to resume the following day. Make sure that you select the correct buttons down here. If you want to save your work, you have to choose Save and Exit. Okay. When you're done with all of the problems and you want to submit it for grading, then you say Submit Assignment for Grading. Once you do that, you cannot reopen it. It'll grade it for you and it'll issue you a grade. Remember, all of your homework and your quizzes, you have 2 tries, and I always keep the highest grade earned. Okay? I encourage that all of my students use the 2 tries specifically in their homework, because this is going to allow you to get the necessary hands-on application, the practice, so you can be able to solve these problems. Okay? If you do not get a 70 or better on your homework, I encourage and I'm kindly asking that you take the second attempt to try to improve your grade. Okay? You will be seeing a lot of these problems again in your test. So it is very important that you master them. If I've assigned them to you, it's because they're important. So make sure that you understand each of them. Now, after the assignment closes most of the time on Sunday at 11 p.m. The next morning, you'll have access to the answers, to the feedback. That way you get to go back and review your homework and see what you did right, what you did wrong, figure it out, and if you can't figure it out, at that point, you contact me, okay? And then we figure it out together so you can move on and you'll be ready for when you have to take your test, okay? So that is just some general information. Some of the problems, like I said, do have videos like this one. If you click on it, it'll take you to another screen where you just click on it.
In this video, we will learn to calculate the overtime earnings and the total earnings for an employee.
And the video will explain the information.
Is an hourly employee
I'm going to close this. Okay. So you'll have those videos that will provide some guidance. Like I said, not all of the problems have it, but some of them do. And for the ones that don't, I'm covering some of those. So you'll be left with, a few problems that you don't have any guidance with. But that's where your critical thinking comes in, and you have to refer back to your book and try to figure it out. Okay. Now, I do not mind students getting together and working on their homework and helping each other out. Okay. Helping each other, supporting each other is one thing. Copying is another. I do not tolerate students cheating. Okay. I was a student, I am a student, and I understand that sometimes, you know what, two heads think better than one. Okay? If you're getting together in groups, each of you has different questions anyways, but if you're getting together, try to help each other out as to the logistics of how the problem should be solved. And then each of you solves your own problems, you answer your questions, you work together. That's fabulous. Okay? I don't mind students working together in the homework, but when it comes to the test, students are required to complete the test independently. Okay? Now I've done too much talking. Let's go into the problem. The first problem that we're going to be covering is 2AA. Okay? So you'll have something similar to this on your homework. Okay, so let's read the problem. It says Joseph Cavato is paid $12.96 per hour. During the past week, he worked 46 hours, and he is a covered employee who must be paid for overtime. Okay? We have to calculate his gross pay using the overtime premium approach. Okay? Now, before you start working on your problem, you have to read the chapter. Okay? So step number 1, read the chapter. Done. Step number 2, before I start tackling the problem, I need to go back to the book and refresh my memory. What is the overtime premium approach? Okay? So what I've done here is I've copied from the electronic book, okay, the section that talks about the overtime premium approach. Okay? So when we are using the overtime premium approach, the total hours worked, including overtime hours, are multiplied by the regular rate of pay. That's step number 1. Then, the overtime premium pay is calculated by multiplying the overtime hours by an overtime premium rate of 1/2 of the regular hourly rate. Okay? By using the overtime premium approach, an employer could save on the calculation of workers' compensation insurance. Okay? So, that information is provided to us in the textbook. It gives us the steps that we have to take to calculate using the overtime premium approach. Okay, so the first thing that we have to calculate here is the regular pay, and that is for 46 hours. Okay, so it says here we're going to multiply the total hours worked, including overtime hours, which is 46 hours. Okay, so we're going to get the 46 hours, and we're going to multiply it by the regular rate of pay, which is $12.96. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little box here, that way we can put our answer here. Okay, so I'm going to get my calculator. So it'll be 46 hours times 12.96. That'll be 596.16. Okay. I'm sorry, wrong box. Okay. That is my regular pay. You multiply the total hours times your rate. Okay. And this is my rate right here. Okay, $12.96. Okay. Now, for letter B, they want us to calculate the overtime premium pay. Okay. Now, to do that, it says here the overtime premium pay is calculated by multiplying the overtime hours. So overtime hours is any hours above 40. So we worked 46 hours, so that means we have 6 overtime hours. Okay? And we're going to multiply it by half the regular hourly rate. Okay? So half of my regular hourly rate, so I'm going to get my $12.96 and I'm going to divide it by 2. So half is $6.48. Okay. So I'm going to get my calculator and I'm going to do 6 hours times 648. That's going to be $38.88. Okay. So here all we did was to get the 648, you divide your hourly rate by 2 to get your 1/2 the regular hourly rate. Okay, that's how we got the 648. Okay, and then letter C, gross pay. Okay, so how much is this employee going to get paid? This gross pay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add the $596.16 plus the $38.88. Okay, I'm gonna add those together, and that gives me $635.04. Okay, $635.04. Okay, so the regular pay will include all of the hours, including overtime. The overtime pay is going to include only the overtime hours plus times half the rate of your regular pay, which is $38.88, and your gross pay is the sum of the two, the sum of A plus B. Okay, so gross pay, I'm going to do here A plus B. Okay, that's what you're going to do. You're going to add the answer from A plus the answer from B, and that's going to give you the 635. Okay, so which is going to be 596.16 plus 38.88. Okay, and that's how we got the 635.04. Okay, so very simple. It's just different ways of calculating overtime. The overtime premium approach, that's a one way. Now the other way that we calculate overtime is we calculate first the 40 hours of pay times our rate. Second, we multiply any overtime hours times 1.5. Okay, and this is covered in your textbook. You have both methods. Okay, so this is the first problem that I'm covering. Okay, now the second problem that I'm covering, this is the one that students really struggle with. Okay, because it includes time cards. So we have to read and interpret the information provided in the time card. So, I've copied the problem from the book. It says, under the decimal system of computing time work at Timberman Company, production workers who are tardy are docked according to the schedule shown below. Docked is basically another word for being penalized or deducted. Okay? So, if your employees ring in between 1 through 6 minutes late, they're going to get docked 1/10 of an hour. If they're late between 7 to 12 minutes, they're going to get docked 2/10 of an hour. If they're late between 13 to 18 minutes, 3/10 of an hour. And if they're late 19 minutes through 24, they're going to get docked 4/10 of an hour. So that means that an hour is made up of 10 units. Okay? And this is how much they're going to be docked. Now, these employees, the regular hours of work are from Monday through Friday, from 7:30 to 11:30 a.m., so that's 4 hours, and from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m., that's another 4 hours. Okay? So they are going to be working 8 hours. Okay? They have a 1 hour unpaid lunch from 11:30 to 12:30. So the amount of hours they should be working on average per day are 8 hours. Okay? During 1 week, Henry Vanderhoff, who earns $12.15 an hour, Okay, let me highlight that. That's important. I like to know how much my employees get paid per hour. This one gets paid $12.15. Reports and checks it as shown below. Well, I've included it over here. Okay. Employees, and now this is very important. Employees are not paid for ringing in a few minutes before 7:30 and 12:30, nor for ringing out a few minutes after 11:30 or 4:30. So if they clock in before that time that they're supposed to, they don't get paid for that. If they clock out a few minutes after the time that they're supposed to clock out, they don't get paid for that. Okay? So that is what usually throws students off. We need to be clear on the instructions. Okay? Now we are given a time card. Okay? What time they clocked in, clocked out, clocked in, and clocked out per day. We have to figure out the hours worked each day. How many hours did this employee, Henry, work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? After we do that daily hours worked, we can calculate the total hours worked for the week, and then we can calculate the gross earnings for the week. Okay? So let's start with Monday. On Monday, Henry clocked in at 7:28. It says here, employees are not paid for ringing in a few minutes before 7:30. So I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to assume he clocked in at 7:30. He doesn't get paid for those 2 minutes he clocked in early. Okay? Then he clocked out at 11:31. It says here, they're not paid for ringing out a few minutes after 11:30. Okay? So that does not affect him. Then he clocked in at 12:29. It says here that if they ring in a few minutes before 12:30, they're not going to get penalized, or they're not going to get paid for it. And then he clocked in at 4:31. It says here that if they clock out a few minutes after 4:30, they are not getting paid. So this employee on Monday had a very straightforward day. He did everything how he should. He clocked in at 7:28, out at 11:31, in at 12:29, out at 4:31. He did not arrive late in any of the circumstances. He is not getting penalized. So the fractional hours deducted is 0. He's not getting penalized for anything. So how many hours did he work? Well, from 7:30 to 11:30, that's 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. So it's 7:30, 8:30 is 1 hour, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, that's 4 hours. And then from 12:30 to 4:30, that's another 4 hours. That's 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. So this employee worked 8 hours on Monday. Now, on Tuesday, this employee clocked in at 7:35. At what time should he have clocked in? Well, it says here that the employee needs to clock in at 7:30. So that means that this employee was 5 minutes late. Okay? So, if someone clocks in late, 5 minutes late to be specific, he is going to get docked 1/10 of an hour. Okay? So, if he's going to get docked 1/10 of an hour, okay, how are we going to figure that out? Well, we're going to get our calculator, and we're going to do 1 divided by 10. Okay? So this employee is going to get docked 0.10. Okay? 1 divided by 10 gives you 0.10. Okay? This is the amount that this employee is going to get docked for being late on Tuesday. Then he clocked out at 11:30, which is perfect. That's the time he was supposed to clock out. He clocked back in at 12:30, which is perfect. That's the time that he was supposed to clock back in from lunch. And then he clocked out at 4:30, which is when he should be going home. So, the only issue here on Tuesday is that he arrived 5 minutes late. So, because he arrived 5 minutes late, he gets docked 0.10. Okay? So, an employee should be working 8 hours a day. I'm going to subtract 0.10. So on this particular day, the employee worked 7.90 hours. Okay? So that's the amount of hours that they worked. Okay? 7.90. Okay? Sorry. There we go. Okay? Now let's look at Wednesday. On Wednesday, this employee clocked in at 7:50. At what time was he supposed to clock in? 7:30. So this employee is how many minutes late? From 7:30 to 7:50, this employee is 20 minutes late. Okay? So if this employee is 20 minutes late, he's going to get docked for 1/10 of an hour. So 4/10, let's get our calculator. 4 divided by 10 is 0.40. So this employee is going to get docked 0.40 minutes for being 20 minutes late on Wednesday. Okay? Then this employee clocked out at 11:33. Remember, if they clock out a few minutes after 11:30, they don't get paid. He clocked back in at 12:30, which is right on. I'm sorry, we're doing Wednesday. Then he clocked in at 12:27, which is a few minutes early. It says here that employees are not paid for ringing in a few minutes before 12:30. So then he doesn't get paid for the 3 minutes. And then he clocks out at 4:32, and it says here that they don't get paid if they clock out after 4:30. So the only thing that he's going to get penalized for is for arriving 20 minutes late. So what are we going to do? We're going to get our calculator. So this employee should have worked 8 hours, and he got docked 0.40 for being late. So that means that on Wednesday, this employee worked 7.60 hours. Okay. Now, on Thursday, the employee clocked in at 7:27, a few minutes early, but they don't get paid for that. He clocked out at 11:31, 1 minute after. He doesn't get paid for that either, according to the instructions. Then he clocked in back from lunch at 12:50. Okay. At what time should Henry should have clocked back in from lunch? According to this, Henry's lunch is from 11:30 to 12:30. He clocked in at 12:50. He clocked in 20 minutes late from lunch. So we need to penalize him because he clocked in 20 minutes late from lunch. So if it's 20 minutes, then it's going to fall under this category. So the penalty is going to be, once again, 4/10, which equals 0.40. Okay? And then he clocked out at 4:33, 3 minutes late. He doesn't get paid for clocking out 3 minutes late. So the only penalty that's being incurred here is him arriving 20 minutes late from lunch. So on Thursday, once again, he worked 7 hours and 60 cents. That was obtained by getting your 8 hours minus the 0.40, gives you 7.60. Okay. Now let's see Friday. Friday, Henry clocked in at 7:28, 2 minutes early, doesn't get paid for that. He clocked out at 11:32, 2 minutes late, does not get paid for that. Then he clocked in at 12:40. He should have clocked in at 12:30. So that makes him 10 minutes late. So from 7 through 12 minutes, he's going to get docked 2/10. Okay? So calculator, 2 divided by 10 gives you 0.20. Okay? That's how much he's going to get docked. And then he left at 4:30, which is the correct time. So we're going to get our calculator, and we're going to do 8 hours minus 0.20. On Friday, the employee earned 7 hours and 7.80 hours. Okay. So these are the amount of hours that the employee worked every day, okay, based on his time card. And a time card is basically a record that keeps track of how many hours were worked. If you read over the chapter, they have different types of time cards. They have electronic, biometric, manual time cards. They have a variety of time cards that keep track of your hours worked. Okay? And regardless of the method that you use, we have to use that information provided in the time card to calculate how much are we going to pay you. Okay? So we've already answered letter A, which is the hours worked each day. Okay? Now, for the letter B, the total hours worked, we're just going to add them together. We're going to add all of my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, because I am using Excel, it's just easy for me to just, you know, sorry, not dollar sign, to just use the function here and add them, okay? But you can also use your calculator, 8 hours plus 7.90 plus 7.60 plus 7.60 plus 7.80, and that gives me 38.9 hours, okay? This is the total hours that Henry earned this particular week, okay? So that is letter B, okay? Now, letter C says, what is the gross earnings for the week, okay? So, the gross earnings for the week, okay? How much am I going, how much does this employee earn for working 38 hours and 90 cents? Well, we're going to get the 38.90. This is the number of hours worked. And we're going to multiply it by the rate of pay, which is $12.15. Okay? Times $12.15. Okay? So, we get $472.64. So what did we do here? We got the hours, which is 38.90 hours, times my rate of pay, which is $12.15. Okay? And that is how we calculate your gross pay. Okay? Gross pay is how much you earned before any deductions. Okay? We'll cover net pay later on. Okay? But gross pay is how much you made. Okay? So, working Monday through Friday, this employee worked 38.90 hours, giving him a total of $472.64. Make sure that you take it a step at a time, that you read your time card carefully. Make sure that you understand if they get penalized for clocking in late. Now, there are specific exceptions here. If they clock in a few minutes before 7:30 and 12:30, or a few minutes after 11:30 and 4:30, they don't get paid, they don't get penalized, they don't get nothing. Okay? So those you don't have to worry about. Just worry if they are late clocking in from either back from lunch or just early in the morning. Okay? So that is the problem. That is how we read this particular time card. Okay? This is how we calculate the problem. We have letter A, letter B, and letter C. Okay? So I hope this short video provided some guidance as to how to solve those two specific problems that you're going to have in your homework. Okay? Please, 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 I cannot stress it enough. Read the chapter. It has very, very good information out there. And if you do have any questions, please do not be shy. Please contact me either through Blackboard, through messages, phone call, come and visit me during my office hours, whatever it takes. Okay? Just make sure that if you have any questions or have any doubts, you get those answered immediately. The information from chapter 2 will be covered in all future chapters, so it's imperative that you do know how to solve or compute regular pay, overtime pay, gross pay, all of this. This is a cumulative textbook. Whatever you cover chapter 1 will be continuously covered in the remainder of the chapters. Whatever you cover in chapter 2 will be continuously covered. So you do need to know it. Okay? Please invest the time in reading, in viewing the short videos that are provided, using all of the resources provided in Cengage, reviewing your PowerPoint presentations that I have posted in Blackboard. Use those presentations to take notes as you read. Listen to these short videos, demonstration videos on how to solve your homework, and take advantage of the 2 attempts provided for your homework and your quizzes. That way you get the most points possible, please. Yeah. So that is it for this short video. Until next time.